Okay, we're here in Raymond and I'm at Tasha Reeves' house. Remember how we were gonna have the women's conference and we were gonna have her teach about Come Follow Me? So we're here in Raymond, the lovely town of Raymond, and we are gonna go and knock on her door and she's gonna talk to us about Come Follow Me. Hi Tasha.
Hi Lisa.
What an entrance.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our cottage of content. Come on in. Cottage of content and joy. Come on in. I'll take you back. I want to share a scripture that means a lot to me right now. I shared it with my nephew. Come on in here. I shared it with my nephew yesterday. He was having a hard time on his mission, as many missionaries are having a rough time. And this is from Elder Anderson at the last general conference. He said, spiritually defining moments come at different times and in different ways, individualized for each of us. And that is such an appropriate quote for Come Follow Me and what we're going to be talking about today. The Spirit is going to individualize Come Follow Me for every single one of us. We're all going to look different.
You don't want so.
All right. Hi out there, whoever's seeing this. I am excited to share some thoughts about Come Follow Me. And I love that Lisa asked me to do this months ago for her women's conference. And then of course that got canceled, but she wrote me into, somehow I agreed to do this virtually. So it'll be way different than what we had planned, but that's how things go right now. This is the new normal. I want to welcome you to this is a sanctuary where we do Come Follow Me and home church and everything else. We live in a tiny little house. We call it the Cottage of Content because it really is a little one floor little cottage that we're renting right now. But we were determined to follow the prophet and to create a sanctuary where we could do home church, which turned out nicely because it's also our homeschool. This is our homeschool space too. So it was nice that the prophet had prepared us for that, for so many things. The prophet's been just preparing us for everything. But I want to show you, I'm gonna start off with this cute picture. Okay, we all are familiar with this picture. This is a picture of Adam and Eve. And I think sometimes we get in our heads that this is what home church is gonna look like, right? That all the kids are just intent and listening and sitting on laps and there's sheep roaming around, right? Like it's just a little slice of heaven. And I think that's what we have in our heads, that this is the ideal, what we should strive for. And then this is like the reality is like a Benadai, right? Like this is more often how it feels, right? Like after home church, I feel like I'm burnt out, right? Like totally burnt out. And these are my kids looking at me, judging me, right? Trying to figure out if this is if this is fun or not. Anyway, so I think that's funny. There was someone posed a question online and it's perfect for today. She says it like this. Oh, this is on, if you're on Facebook, this is the Come Follow Me for Families. Really, really good social media site for getting help for Come Follow Me. There's, I think, thousands of people on here all posting their best ideas. So if you're not afraid of overwhelm, Come Follow Me Overwhelm, join Come Follow Me for Families on Facebook. And you won't need to listen to another thing I say because it's all on here. But and people post questions too, and I really appreciated this one. This girl, Kimberly, says, I got to vent just for a second. I'm not gonna lie. The home-centered church thing is hard, and today I feel like it's not at all worth the time and effort to prepare. My kids range from 15 to 2, so planning for all to be engaged is difficult. I'm asking myself if it's truly worth it. Hanging outside or going on family drives on Sunday would be so much easier. I know it's worth it, and I know how important it is. I just pray that something I'm teaching goes in one ear and sticks instead of coming out the other. I pray that God will make up the difference as I continue to do my part. Okay, so such an honest response to how she's feeling with having teenagers down to a 2-year-old. It's hard. We all feel it. We're all in this together. She had hundreds. I sorted through hundreds of responses, people reaching out with the me too. Wow. And also some really, really, really good advice about how people are making it work for teenagers down to toddlers. Let me just read a couple of the responses because some of them are just perfect. One lady said, I have a 7 and 14-year-old, so I've kind of been rotating which type of lesson I do. One week is more geared toward the 7-year-old, and the next week is more geared toward the 14-year-old. But my lessons are always short because when the 7-year-old starts to lose it, we're done, right? We all know what that is. We kind of gear it towards the little ones for sure.
Actually, in our family, we gear it towards me.
Towards you? Oh, your attention span? Of course. All right, another response was good. She says, it is hard. Lots of things would be easier. My parents had, lots of things would be easier than doing this home church. She says, my parents had 8 kids in a 12-year time span. Being one of the older kids, I remember plenty of times that younger kids were allowed to play or dismissed to prepare for bed, and the older ones were invited for a smaller group or sometimes one-on-one discussion. I really like that idea, and that's kind of how it looks in our house often. The little kids are just kind of running around or dismissed, and we keep going with the older ones. But she said but they will remember. And one thing that I keep going back to is that talk from Elder Bednar that just talked about the painting and the brushstrokes, right? And every time we sit down, it's not a masterpiece. We're just adding one more brushstroke to that masterpiece. So that's, I really cling to that idea. Another person said, hey, go for that car ride. Go for your walk. Ask questions, have discussions, and sing primary songs. Another person says, keep it simple. I figure I used to spend every Sunday morning yelling and angry, so anything better than that is a success, right? That's a great benchmark, right? As long as I'm not screaming and yelling, we just had a very successful home church. I think like everything, we have to figure out how to fit it in so that it isn't one more thing. And I've had to learn this over and over again. When my kids were old enough to join scouting, I had to change my mindset that this isn't one more thing. That I've figured out that just kind of by living and breathing, they were earning their badges. And it just kind of became easier when I changed my mindset that it wasn't one more thing. We were naturally living the gospel. We were naturally progressing and learning new things. And then same with Young Women's and all the programs of the church. It's not just one more thing. The church is trying to integrate the gospel into our everyday lives, the everyday moments. Well, I was going to talk about the many hats, right? That Sister Jones was so lovely to talk about, right?
It's
all the very many hats quotes, and
we don't have to wear all of them.
Yes, and we don't. It's impossible to, right? So pick what works for you. So let me share a few of the things that work for us. Our number one goal right now, I'll point you, Lisa, can you show them these documents right here? Our number one goal right now is to focus on basic doctrines of the church. And anything outside of these documents really is it's less important. We figure that if we could teach our kids the restoration all about Christ and the proclamation to the world, that they'll have the most basic doctrines, that they'll know what we believe in as Latter-day Saints. And I think it took me a while to kind of have that aha moment with the restoration. When it came out, I was kind of like, well, that's nice, right? And I had that 25 years ago with the proclamation. When that came out, I was like, that's nice. And someone gave it to me for my wedding, and I thought, why would I hang it on my wall, right? Now
she's got a full-on Mod Podge
and we
one.
spent a whole year memorizing it. It's become so important. So I knew.
Is that because it's stuff you like? Duh! Like, I know this. Like, why would I want to?
Then, right? Then and now, our kids need to understand who they are. That they have a divine nature and destiny. Gender is essential, right? These are things the world is never going to teach them. And the same thing about the restoration. I just think it's going to become more and more important and relevant to understand that. And of course, our foundation is Christ. And if they don't understand that, like Holland said, if you don't know what this is all about, home church and all, if you don't know what this is all about, you're missing it. If you don't understand that this is all about the Savior and gaining our relationship with Him. Okay, I want to show you. I'll just skip to this right here. This little box right here. This is what we call our Sunday box. Or on other days, it's like our boredom buster box. And so when we get through our Come Follow Me lesson, sometimes they're not very long. The rest of Sunday can be long. But I don't want to hear the whining and complaining. This is the boredom buster. They can come in here. Faith's got her knitting in here. These are some of the best books. And I hate to promote other, some books above others, but the how and why books, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are amazing topical books that talk about every discussion you want to have with your teenager. There's some really good gospel discussions in those books. They've been my favorite go-to for teenagers. But the kids one of them has this Book of Mormon study guide where she writes out her thoughts and insights as she studies. All kinds of things. And the fun thing is to switch it up. And they don't know what they're going to find in there. Different art books and cartoon books and The Friend. So right now I have 2 that are gone out of home. I have a married son. I have one on a mission. And then I have, here's all my little pieces. I have a 16-year-old, Sweet 16. I have an 11-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So we have all ages. I want to say one thing that's really important to our family, and that is to stick to the church's curriculum as much as we can. Really, all you need are your scriptures, the study guide, the Come Follow Me manual, and we use the conference reports and the church magazines. The church magazines, I can't stress enough how fun they are, and we use them a lot for the little kids, for my teenagers. They have it covered. They've done all the work for us. You don't have to go researching, trying to come up with material for Come Follow Me. In fact, on that Come Follow Me for Families website that I was talking about earlier, someone put together a list of podcasts that she could find for Come Follow Me. And I think she had 15, and she wanted people to vote on what was their favorite podcast. She wanted to get a good idea of the best that's out there and what should she study. And it was amazing because of those 15, my favorite podcast that I like to listen to for Come Follow Me wasn't even on her list. She didn't even know about that one. So I said, you definitely want to put this on your short list. And then she probably had, dozens more comments with even more resources, right? So it's endless, and the overwhelm, right, that we talked about is real, right? Where do you start and where do you stop? Well, start with your scriptures, and it can really stop there too, right? And the manuals are amazing. But if you do need a little bit more, you'll find it. One thing I came by recently was I think she calls herself, her website is called Chicken Scratch and Sniff. And she does all kinds of visuals for Come Follow Me. And I printed off, many of them are free. But this was Book of Mormon discussions that you can have like around the table. So if you were Joseph Smith and were picking out a spot to pray, where would it be and why?
Those are cute.
So cute, right? To have, I mean, you can do them around anywhere. Around the table. We rented my Sweet 16 at a birthday last week, and we rented a hot tub. We did Come Follow Me in the hot tub, right? We had the best.
Okay, now you're talking about
gospel
language.
discussions in the hot tub, right? But sometimes you're just kind of stuck. Here are some really fun questions. Another really fun game that I learned in our primary is the kids love Would You Rather, right? Would you rather be Ammon, missionary Ammon, who's like the hero, gets to have superpowers and super, cool things, or like end up Alma and Amulek in that story when you're not so famous, or even Ammon's brother Aaron, right, and nearly starved to death. Would you rather, which brother would you rather be, right? Like they love. In our primary, the kids love the Would You Rather. Anyway, there are so many resources. You just kind of have to set aside time to organize yourself and just kind of do it, right? And one of the things for me has been that, again, that mindset, like I'm going to cling to Come Follow Me. But in order to do that, I had to let go. My arms were full, right? I really had to let go so that I had space to be able to reach out and cling to Come Follow Me.
Let go of what?
And that's a choice. So let go of my house in many ways, right? The projects, especially during Corona, I heard a lot of friends talk about a lot of their projects, right? That they were finally able to get done and clean out the garage or organize the pantry, or I don't have a lot of those. I had to let that go so I could focus on homeschooling and keeping up with Come Follow Me. I just had to, my project has been Come Follow Me. Well, Corona has allowed us to let go a lot of the busyness, and hopefully we don't go back to that, right? Where we're gone so much and so busy that you lose the time and the drive to do Come Follow Me. One mom said that she works full time, and so she puts together her lesson, and I really like this tip. She puts together her lesson, and then they have Come Follow Me lesson, but she leaves it up all week. She has this really cute board, and she leaves up her visuals, and she leaves up her lesson there all week. And she said her kids are a little bit older. She says they read it, they go back, they refer to it. It reminds them what they need to be studying in their Come Follow Me. So I really like that. I don't have a spot where I leave up my lessons. We have our visual board. This is actually another one of our favorite activities, is just to hold up a picture and have the kids tell the story, right? Or we play timeline, putting together the Book of Mormon timeline, putting the pictures, of course there's so many more, putting the pictures in order of when they happened. And I just love them getting to know their heroes. We have, for the little ones, I just love these little figurines. And it's kind of like the new felt board pictures, right? Singing time, there's some fantastic online choristers. Donnie Osmondson, Brother Brandon, I think his name is, Brother Brandon the chorister, is awesome. There's a guy that calls himself the primary music boss, really good. Like, the resources are all there, let's use them. Well, I'm just going to share one story that I learned from my mother, right? This is how we pass down our best traditions, and this was my mother's. When I was a young mom, I still am. I don't know when that changes, but I'm still a young mom. But when my oldest were really little and I didn't know what I was doing, I would call Mom and say, Mom, my Tanner's biting everyone. I had a biter. And he would bite I couldn't take him to McDonald's because he would just bite every kid and for no reason. I couldn't take him to nursery. That was really, really hard to be the parent of a biter. And I'd call crying, or, you know, none of my kids are sleeping, and, you know, just all the stresses of a young mom. And my mom would pause every time. She would pause and she would say, I don't know how to help you with your biter. I don't know how to get a kid to stop biting. But I do know that Joseph Smith was a true prophet. She would say this is honestly her answer, that Joseph Smith was a true prophet, that he saw God and Jesus Christ, right? I know that God knows you and loves you, right? She would just bear her testimony. It was kind of funny, right? Kind of frustrating, funny. But as the years went on, I realized that was the best advice that Mom could have given me. It was the best advice. She's right. Nothing else matters, right? When I know who I am and that God has a plan for me and for my children, and he loves them too, give it to Jesus, right? So she was so wise in doing that. And now I do that to my kids, right? When they call looking for advice on whatever, it just comes back to Joseph Smith.
Can I come over?
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to end with that. Whatever you do in your Come Follow Me every week, just bear your testimony. Your kids will remember that most of all. They'll remember how much you tried and how much that you love the Lord and you love following the prophet. And those are the things that will stick more than any lesson that you do. And that's these are my best tips. And I leave that with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.